Okay, so it's the end of the PGCHE process, and I thought I would just reflect on what I've learnt and evaluate how suitable the programme was for me. Well, the first thing to say is I found it much more challenging than I expected. There were lots of things that were relevant to me in my teaching role, but they really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and a couple of things I found it really hard to relate to what I did. Especially the second module, all about curriculum design and assessment. It made me realise that my experience is really quite limited at the moment, and that's something I need to push and be more proactive about. I think when I go to SASC now, I'll definitely have more idea what people are talking about, and I'll feel more confident about suggesting how I could become involved, and also about giving my opinions on people's programmes. Because previously I've restricted myself to commenting about library and resourcing issues, but now I think I'd feel more confident about the overall design and their teaching strategies, and hopefully convince people that there is a place for me as part of the teaching team, not just doing one-off lectures. Overall, I've really enjoyed the PGCHE. I think my highlights have been the observations, which surprised me as I was quite nervous about doing them. But I think once I'd done a couple and also started off observing other people, I realised that they have the same anxieties about their performance as I do. Particularly enjoyed observing colleagues from education. Paul and Dave have been really helpful, giving me the benefit of their many years' experience and just helping me think about things in more of a practical way rather than a theoretical way. So Paul was really helpful, giving us lots of advice on how to incorporate technology into our sessions, and also about just being a bit more creative and being a bit more relaxed about our sessions. I've also enjoyed the opportunity to go and observe academics within the schools I support, and that's something I'd like to continue. I'd also like to continue inviting my liaison librarian colleagues to come and see my sessions. I think if I'm going to try something new, it would be really handy to have somebody else's opinion and take on how it's going. I found they've been really useful at highlighting some of the habits I didn't realise I had. So how I always sort of work the room in the same way and maybe don't get the chance to talk to the people at the back of the room because I get preoccupied with people asking questions at the front and suddenly the end of the hour is up. It's also made me realise that I have to devote more time to students actually learning and doing in my sessions and worry less about what I'm doing as a teacher. That if I can plan my sessions so that people are busy, active and engaged, then really my job is just to sit back, answer questions, facilitate, encourage them to help each other, rather than be so eager to foist what I know onto people. Another highlight has been the mentor process. I've always had a really good relationship with my mentor Pete, but this has enabled us to just be a bit more professional and talk more about work rather than social things. And it's actually been really helpful because we have very different approaches to our jobs and we've really been able to learn a lot from each other. He did the PGCHE a couple of years ago and it had a really big impact on him. He's always been very reflective, but he's become even more so, and he's really encouraged me to, reflect more on what I do and also take action as a result of it. And that's really something I'm going to look forward to when I become a mentor to my colleague Sharon next year. I'd like to pass on a lot of what Pete has given me. Things that maybe didn't work so well. I think some of our taught sessions were quite hard to get into and that I maybe wanted more practical input and it was very theoretical. It was interesting to learn the theory, but maybe we could have done that just through our reading and we could have had more activities within the session that talked about, real life situations that we'd encountered and how we could resolve them. I appreciate that's not really what the PGCHE has set itself up to do, but at times it did feel more like it was an induction for new lecturers, and maybe some of the focus was too much on NTU structures and less about our teaching and how we could take it forward. Overall though, it's been a really good experience. I've done things that I'd been avoiding for ages, such as doing observations, getting more involved with e-learning, taking more of an active research role. So it's really pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm looking forward to having the time to put some of these ideas into practice next year. Okay, thank you.